the sun and the moon and the planet realize that there is a human um, essence of existence that can do things correctly when they had to go on COVID protocols. When we went on COVID protocols, the ecosystem was given a chance to recover from the violent, aggressive, transhumant, sexual, predatory behaviors. When you see a movie like Dune, with the giant, the over the top, the big sand uh, worms, and the same thing that Lucas does, and it's over the top. It's Cecil B. DeMille, magical, violent thinking. When they're given an understanding of relative uh, communications of how to correct self, it'd be far better, okay, to commit suicide. Um, Muhammad Mecca, okay, be far better to be given 100 lashes and hit with 100 rocks than it would be to cheat, make wedding vows to a faithful spouse and then cheat on them. Okay. So he's talking about, what scientists would refer to as biological conditioning, as psychological conditioning through aggressive, violent behaviors and tribalism and stuff. Sitting down and deriving entertainment through violent. I told you, I understood why you guys were addicted to a lot of the stuff, because it's like going on rides in Disneyland when Amy took me to go see the Lord of the Rings first movie stuff. And Therese had me drink alcohol before, and everybody knows I hate alcohol, for good reason, especially for what it did to my dad's family through my grandfather's secular abuse and the way he reacts to secular abuse and competition. Both grandfathers had a really hard time with secular abuse and competition, because one had to become a trained killer for the U.S. military. The poor, to maintain the status quo and manage the surplus population for the wealthy. That was Grandpa Murphy. And they both had a different violent reaction. My Grandpa Parsons was the charming guy to get everybody and be the party and kill each other with alcohol, booze, and promiscuous sex. And Grandpa Murphy was, you follow the orders, do as you're told, be like the gentlemen say, and then just kill the people that don't obey orders. So they were bipolar opposites, right? And then you had the women that had to try to love them and accept the dysfunction, because everybody accepts the dysfunction. So when you're looking at these kind of dynamics, you look at the new Doctor Who propaganda, you look at the new M. Night Shyamalan re-rolled of, yeah, I agree, that kid couldn't be any, him and Deepak Chopra couldn't be any further from Jiddu Krishnamurti. And the other night when we were in the tub, I discussed, about Mahatma Gandhi and Krishnamurti, and they were all like, Krishnamurti was not jealous of Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. Mahatma Gandhi was fundamentally incorrect in getting Brahmin people to be voluntarily genocidal to maintain the status quo for the wealthy. That's what Mahatma and Indira Gandhi did. Okay. They'll just pack up and leave because they'll be so embarrassed because of the oppressive mass murder they'd be willing to commit publicly to maintain their social position with mass media. Okay. That's what happened with the British in India. Okay, there was mass media, mass communications. And look what these brutal status quo psychopaths are willing to do to people that will not violently, okay, react to their oppression. That's how India was able to regain its status quo and have its own people do that to its own people, as opposed to the British. Okay. When you keep it in the family, it stays domestic, and then it's just an eternal problem on the BBC of tribalism over thousands of years that cannot be corrected by more elite thinkers. You see it on British news all the time. They've been talking this way for thousands of years. Well, there's no way to top these barbarians. And it's like, oh, tuppence my ass, fuck you. Okay. It's the pot and the kettle. It's the splinter and the plank, So when you sit there and you try to get people, and then there's always, the one person that is doing it in their method is far worse than the other method. And, and they make jokes about it, like on the Big Bang Theory, no, we don't give our poor any hope. We give them mythology that's quite elegant but makes no sense and is not tangible. But they buy it and believe it to maintain the status quo because they've been biologically trained and conditioned to accept this type of thinking and have no hope that it'll ever change over thousands of years. Okay. And now with radical mass media, radical mass communications that we've never had before. Okay, this biological and psychological conditioning is something that's become a very, very difficult problem that these people are looking at, how do we mass exterminate one another to maintain the Hunger Games? How do we mass exterminate one another to maintain this fantasy thinking of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas? Yeah. How do the propaganda artists keep the brain chemical addiction going? And the answer is, after COVID protocols with the sun and the almanac, is you can't, you don't. Okay. And then what happens is they change the spoken word into written word that's a movie script to maintain the brain chemical addiction instead of the reality. That's why the correction, like with Andrew Womack's People of Me, people believe they come as a living correction. Yes, but I'm not the dude on Barney Miller who plays the wolf guy and Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm Ralph Earl Parsons Jr. Christ. Okay, to understand, mom and dad named me Ralph Earl Jr. Okay, not Jesus Christo. Okay, so I'm not Jesus Jones or James Earl Crest or I'm not a movie script. I'm reality. Okay, that's why my name was the way it was and the way people perceived it and looked into it, and we're trying to decipher, the puzzle that doesn't exist. Okay. It just has to be kept like, is this really it? Is this it? Have them questioning because they're not a part of the eternal, faithful communications to save us from people like them. I am, but they're not. Okay. Do you get it? Okay. So as you hear the hum and the this and the that, and they have to spray the stuff to react to the chemical reactions that are violent to one another and the plants for them to survive economically. Okay. Once we eliminate that violent economics, there'll be less spraying and the reaction between the plants. Like I noticed with the bees and the killer bees, because the bees attacked me because of the carbon emission poisoning from the equipment I was using to maintain the violent reactions of the plants reacting to the violent reactions of the humans when I got attacked by the killer bees. And I said, well, the way to, and I knew right away for the bees to become less docile is for us to modify our activities between one another and our ecosystem and our plants and our, and our animals and stuff. And so the animals, it's not about survival, it's about understanding. Once you understand how to love and be loved in return, survival becomes less of an issue. And respect and understanding and harmony becomes more of, it's the only viable solution. So let's load this up and then we'll get back to work. And I'm good. I sat and watched the Kimmel thing, and a lot of things got answered for me emotionally. Just watching the brain chemical addiction dysfunction and feeling it in the people on the show and going, okay, how can I compassionately help? I don't know. The artificial intelligence, they're doing everything and fighting me for it to become actually intelligent. I don't know how I'm going to help them. We'll find out together. Okay, guys, I love you. All right? Peace.